where you end up. You end up just carrying everything.
100%.
I started feeling better Saturday, Sunday. I had COVID. Unbelievable. I'm like, I didn't even know that thing was still around.
I mean, I saw things saying it was really on the East Coast, but not here.
I know.
Even one of the states that wasn't resurgent.
What are the odds of it? Zach had it first and I managed to stay good for like 6 days. And I was like, I'm in the clear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to Europe, I was worried that we would get it on the plane or something, but
That's good. I haven't had my booster shot in a while.
well, I haven't had one since last.
Oh, you're
The third,
remotely.
Thanks.
Stuff.
We had the latest one, but it was
Yeah.
when we went to we had it just before we went to Australia in 22.
Oh,
So we don't remember another one.
Is
Yeah.
one that.
We don't remember another shot.
Do not want
Yeah.
that. Do not want that.
Because we're adamant, we're not ever
This
getting it.
tent,
No.
not that,
You never got
you know.
COVID at all during the whole time. You never got COVID.
Oh,
Crazy.
wow, that's cool.
I got every shot that was possible.
The thing is, that's why I stopped, because I got the two and I got COVID.
Oh, really?
So I got the third, I'm not getting it anymore.
Forget
I mean, I'm
that.
getting it anyway. I got the immunity probably.
Yeah.
Hi, crazy. My mother-in-law was speaking. She got it and then like a week later she got it.
My wife
Did you
got it
get both
twice.
single shots?
My wife got it twice. You get COVID? Yeah.
But people are so lucky.
Must have been West Valley.
But it wasn't.
If I got it, I didn't know I got it.
Share in West Valley. Really?
A lot of what?
We had our share of COVID in West
Oh,
Valley.
good. So it wasn't bad enough you had to be put on any medicine?
Let's talk. I've been games a couple of times.
Oh, gosh.
I'll try to keep my eye on that screen.
Thank you. Okay, we'd like to welcome everyone and call to order the study meeting of the West Valley City Council. It is July 9th, 2024, and we're beginning our meeting at 4:31 PM in the multipurpose room of West Valley City Hall. We have Councilman Hune is not here right now. On Zoom, we have Councilman Fitzsimmons and Councilman Whetstone. At the table, we have Councilman Norfelt, Councilman Harmon, Councilman Christensen, and myself. We're also joined by our city manager, Mr. Peely, and our city recorder, Ms. Kamick. We have our minutes of July 2nd, 2024. Turn those to the council for discussion or a motion.
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Those stand approved. We have our agenda for this evening. Have there been any revisions or changes? And any questions about tonight's meeting from the council? Any concerns? Mhm. Just a consent agenda. All right, we'll go to our public hearings. We'll turn the time over to Mr. Pastrick regarding application ZT 7/2024.
Thank you, Mayor. Steve Pastor, Community Development Director. I'll share my screen as usual here. This is actually a code change that the staff is proposing. And it has to do with regulations for zone changes. So back in 2015, the council put in a number of restrictions that limited what zones could be requested and under what conditions. And so one of those was that you can see here, this is in section 75101, says property within the city limits may be amended or rezoned to like R17, R18, R110, and R112. And what the code currently says is that basically the property has to be under 2 acres. So if it's 2 acres or larger, it's not eligible to be rezoned to one of those zones. And the idea at the time was to push anything that was 2 acres or larger to the RE, to larger lot zone. Well, again, that was in our view of staff, that was really tailored towards vacant properties. But there are some instances where we have developed properties where we think it actually makes sense to rezone to some of those smaller lot zones. And I'll provide a couple of examples. Before I get to the examples, I want to mention that this new scenario where you could request those zones is very limited. Okay? So we have a long list of conditions. So the first is it has to already be developed as residential with a density of at least 2 units per acre. Has to have access and frontage on a street with a right-of-way width of at least 66 feet. And it's a property that doesn't have off-site improvements, so no curb gutter and sidewalk. We put in here this map. This is the major street plan. So you can see these would be roads that the property would have to have access and frontage on, but again, it would also have to meet those other conditions. And then we have the next item on the agenda is one example where the city's actually requesting to change the zoning. The next application Z4 really isn't possible unless this is approved first, okay? But another example that's not on the agenda tonight, I just wanted to highlight. This is property on 60th West. We've spoken with the family about. It's at 3850 South, 60th West, where you have, it's already developed. There's a number of older homes on it. It's on a road that's 60th West that is a 66-foot right-of-way. There's no curb gutter sidewalk. So again, this would be another property that would be potential candidate for a rezone to like R18, for example.
What's the zone now?
Zoned A. So again, so this one's not for, any decision tonight on this particular property, but just an example of one that would be eligible if this change were to be made. So to summarize again, we're asking that the code be changed that it would allow properties that meet these very specific conditions to at least apply for these zones. Now, keep in mind that even if they can apply, the council could still deny that. This just allows them the opportunity to apply. Because right now it's just not an option.
But the issue that we're talking about now, is it staff suggesting we change this or is the owner?
So this is one where as staff we're suggesting, and it's because what really prompted us to do this is that the next item on the agenda is a zone change that staff is also suggesting, and I'll explain a little bit more why that is. Because in other words, as staff, we couldn't suggest or move forward with that zone change without this first.
Any questions? Neither one of them have hands up on the screen, right? Should we move on to the next one then?
Great.
Not seeing any questions. So application Z4 2024.
So the next one here is a city initiated zone change. So this is property at 4342 South 40th West. It's 3.35 acres. This is an existing mobile home park, 15 units, as well as one home that fronts the 40th West. Here's a close-up of that, so you can see the mobile homes and then the homes in the northeast corner of the property. The property is zoned R4, which is not a zone we deal with much these days, but it's actually zoned that allows for fourplexes as well as duplexes, triplexes, that sort of thing. And this is something, honestly, we inherited from the county back when we were incorporated years ago. And we actually got a call not too long ago where there was someone inquiring about potentially redeveloping the site. And the concern we had as staff is that under the current zoning, this actually could be redeveloped into a group of fourplexes. And so we wanted to rezone this to R18, which is what's around it. Pretty much everything around it is zoned R18, but again, without the prior application, that wouldn't be a possibility. So assuming that the council's supportive of the first item that's on the agenda today, then this property would then be eligible to be rezoned to R18. And then if it were to redevelop, so we're not, this action, of course, doesn't require them to redevelop the property, but if it were to redevelop, the duplex, fourplex would not be an option. They would have to be single family. And just a few more images here. So this is looking at the property, or looking to the west across 40th West. Behind the trees there are the mobile homes. There is some vacant ground more towards the south end of the property. This is the home on the property in the northeast corner. Then the home just directly to the north. There's actually another mobile home park north of this one. This is the access leading back to it. You can see no curb gutter sidewalk on this property. This is just the homes on the east side of the street of 40th for context. And then there is a stub street that abuts on the west side of the property. So this is looking from the stub street at the mobile home park.
What's the zoning on the trailer park to the north?
R18.
It's R18. So it's a non-conforming.
Correct. Right, and it's interesting, the R4 zone, at least today, actually doesn't allow mobile home parks either, so it's non-conforming now, and it'll just continue to be non-conforming under the R18 zone.
Why not RE?
That's technically an option. We were looking at it more from the couple of reasons. One is if you look at everything around it is R18. The other is we felt like given how many units, so you've got 15 mobile homes and then the home that's there now, if someone were to redevelop, we think it's more likely if it's R18 than if we went RE. I just think the number of lots you would get based on the rents that they're getting now, it's probably not, in our view, probably not likely to redevelop at RE, given what's on it already.
Because they're getting more in rent now, then they might be able to sell it for RE.
Right, when you factor in just, ongoing rents, what the value of that is today versus what you could sell it for RE, I think just our view would be a little more challenging to redevelop that.
So they can sell it more and get more money at R18 than they can with RE.
Correct. Of course, as it sits now, they could redevelop it as fourplexes, so.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the developer that we're dealing with, or is it the owner?
So right now, it's just the city.
Yes.
And I actually spoke, so the owner actually reached out to me, and this is one that I was a little surprised, actually, he was supportive of it being rezoned, so.
Because I know she has voiced to me many times that she inherited property from her parents, that inherited it from their parents, that inherited it from their parents, and she won't give it up.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
And
So it
when
doesn't
I
really
was
matter.
campaigning last year, I sat on that porch and talked to them, and what they wanted was to work out something to widen the spot right beside them so they could run a horse in it, but because it wasn't wide enough to rezone to A. And so it was kind of surprising that she's now talking about, let's rezone it.
Yeah, I don't know that she has any pending plans. It was more so another party that was interested in potentially redeveloping it. And we heard that, we're like, that current zoning's probably not the best.
Thanks for catching it.
Are there other properties with similarly antiquated zoning that you're also looking at?
Not right now, but it's something if the council would like, we can do maybe a deeper dive. This is one that just came to our attention, but if it's something the council wants to look into, we could do that.
Like the other properties that have the R4.
Right.
Yeah, we probably want to look at those.
I mean, we do have some that are actually developed as fourplexes,
Right.
as actual fourplexes, but this is kind of an anomaly.
The there's two, I have two struggles. One is I like the RE zoning, but we're running out of vacant land. And so if we change this ordinance to where redeveloped properties won't be zoned RE if they're over 3 acres, then we're never gonna have RE ever again. But then I also think we're not gonna have things redeveloped if we don't be flexible on some of those things. But we could zone it as RE now, and then whenever an applicant came in, they could apply for a rezone to R18. We could see if their project is worth.
If we approve that first resolution.
Yeah,
If it was the council's desire to go to RE, and I'll double check this, but I think we would need to start over. And the reason is the owner was advertised as it being R18. So we would probably have to start over and re-advertise it as RE so they're aware of that. Cause at least I didn't float that idea. And so, but as R18, the owner didn't have an objection.
if they objected to RE, would we go to A? What could we go to not have it in R4?
The A zone would also be an option.
Especially if she wants a horse anyway.
Back during campaign time. Should be a
A
change.
little bit of time ago, but
The one part that does make it a little bit tricky here too is that the home is actually on a separate parcel, and it does meet the R18 standards. If you went with RE, that wouldn't meet the A zone. It's almost like we'd have to leave that house out because it's too small.
I think with my first question Laura already asked was the trailer court to the north. If they're R18, I think I would be okay with this one being R18 and with this plan on this all being R18, someday. That's what I'm looking at.
I think,
R18 would be a big step up from what's there now.
Yeah,
and I think the two properties together would make it more likely if they're both R18.
that's true.
And then with Osprey coming in, I'm not sure we could put RE houses on that north of that street if it came straight.
Yeah, but if it curved.
Yeah,
But
you think so?
I think, like say, and that's why we're making this concession, I think, is because we're redeveloping parts of the West Valley that need to be redeveloped. So we're making concessions for zoning to incentivize that to happen. So I'm okay with that. We get some curb and gutter, we get some nicer housing. Just a little higher density than what we'd like, so.
I
But
agree
it's
with
we're
my colleagues there as well. So
we're not gonna have as many RE opportunities going forward, but it's.
Also all very costly. It's what viewers really concerned about it. No, very nice to have that very costly. Once next, you guys have the big storm before west to on 1A. Big step right there.
Okay, not see any other comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We have our council calendar. Did anybody have any concerns or questions on that? Seeing none, Potential future agenda items.
Mayor, I do have one.
Okay.
So, Eric drafted some language, for an ordinance change that would allow the mayor, with consultation from the council, to move any non-public hearing items to the consent agenda. We just felt like an ordinance change that outlined sort of the process would be the clearest way of doing that. So basically, if the council is okay with this, what we would do is we would pass this ordinance change, and then I would add an agenda item at the end of every study session
Okay.
where the mayor would just ask if anybody had any concern about moving all non-public hearing items to the consent agenda for the following week. If there's no concern, then I'll just by default just add everything to the consent agenda as long as it's not a public hearing. And then just as a reminder, if if a council member changes their mind during the week or has additional questions, they can always pull that off in the regular meeting. Just say, I'd like to approve the consent without this particular item. And that's, not a debate. There's no vote needed to take that action of just removing an item from the agenda or from the consent agenda. So I just wanted to see if you guys were comfortable with that, and if so, we can go ahead and schedule that ordinance change coming up.
I like it.
No problem. I'm
Okay.
comfortable with that.
Okay, we'll get that going.
Okay. All right. Seeing no other comments, we'll go to our council reports.
Had the monthly board meeting in the mosquito abatement district yesterday. We are still fighting mosquitoes. We hadn't noticed on July 4th. They're worse this year. A lot of it, he said, we got the lake to fill up again, and then it went down again and left all that marshland around it. And mosquitoes love marshes. So we are doing some battling there. We will be looking at, probably not this year, but next year, a tax increase for the mosquito abatement district. Last one they had, they actually cut their certified tax rate in half. It wasn't a raise, it was lower. And it was back when they built their building, had it paid off quicker, and so they put their taxes back down. And we're running just a little behind on staffing and things like that. Pesticides have tripled in price. So probably next year, you're gonna have to increase it. The percentage we're looking at is about 30%, which would be about $2 a year for an average house. And put us up to still the lowest certified tax rate in any entity in the state. Let's move up from 5 zeros and a 9 to 4 zeros, 11 or 12. So.
It's not bad.
So, but that's the gist of what we're looking at. We'll be out. We're not going to try this year because the time crunch. We'll be out during the next year, letting people know what's going on and why and how, and what we can do.
Okay, thank you for that information. Anybody else have anything?
And I might add, it's a public meeting, but we're not trying to battle all of the private entrepreneurs in the state. But if somebody offers you a mosquito abatement spray for $100 an application or something, it's in your tax rate. Call mosquito abatement. We'll come out and do it.
Oh, okay.
It's paid for by your taxes.
So no need for a different service.
No.
Not a formal item, Mayor, but just a question. Maybe some folks in the room could update us on how 4th of July went in terms of fireworks, calls of, people shooting off fireworks outside of the legal hours or any fires. I mean, heaven forbid that happened in the city or anything like that. Just wondering if there's anyone that can give a quick update on 4th of July weekend.
Chief Evans, come give us a brief summary.
Call volume obviously went up a little bit. It's hard to say that they were all lit by fireworks, but there was fireworks in the area. We had a number of grass fires, had a carport fire, some house fires, but as far as they're legal fireworks, there's nothing we can do. They shoot them off legally. As far as the times of day, it's real hard to probably police that. 4th of July, they can light them off till midnight now. And then 3 days after, so it's over. Starting the 24th, they can start lighting them on the 21st. They'll go through the 27th. At that time, we just keep an eye on them. But yeah, call volumes go up. Fortunately this year, I didn't see any reports of injuries with fireworks, which is always, in the past years, we've had that. I can get you the exact numbers of firework caused fires by next week if you'd like. But like, again, it's hard to say. There was fireworks. People say there was fireworks in the area. There was a fire. It's hard to find the firework that probably lit the fire.
Do you want exact numbers, Jake, or are you good with that?
I don't need anything more
Okay.
granular than that. Just looking at trends. Seems like some holiday weekends, folks call us a lot, and others they don't. So I was just wondering how it went this year.
They're legal fireworks. So it's hard to say they were illegal.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we do have a need for a closed session for pending litigation and disposition of real property. Someone would like to make a motion?
I'll motion that we will go to a closed session for real property and
Pending litigation.
pending litigation.
That we will adjourn.
We'll adjourn at the end of that discussion
No other business.
with no other business.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. We will switch over to the other Zoom and we'll give 5 minutes for everybody to do that and have who needs to be in the room. Thank you.